Welcome to the Evangelistic House of God podcast.
Unscripted discussions on social issues from a Christian's perspective.
Hello and welcome back to the Evangelistic House of God EHOG podcast. I am Pastor Rod Harris. I am joined by Esther Smith.
Hi guys.
Hey, baby. And Pastor Steve Harris. How you doing, brother? Good. Esther the hair is on fleek.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You know what the trick is?
What is it?
So it's dirty, but it don't even look like it. Don't look bad because.
Okay,
Let me tell you what happened. Wait, go ahead. Let's move on. It don't look bad because listen. I sleep on a satin pillowcase, so I don't even have to wrap it up. I sleep on my back anyway.
Okay.
So I'm just like, and then I wake up. It might be a little push right here. Or what I do, I just get the
just undent it.
Yeah, get the rake comb out, and I really don't have to even touch it.
You ain't gotta put no heat on it or nothing.
Nope. Then I smash this side, which I like it to be smashed. And so it just works.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Them satin pillowcases, they work. That's the best.
Pillowcases.
Yeah.
I love satin sheets. What you mean?
I can't do it. They always end up on the ground. My head need cotton to hold it.
Come on, man.
You don't even got no hair.
Yeah.
The stuff I don't have no. I guess I must not have a bunch of stuff. Because I start on it, and I'm telling you, that pillow will end up on the ground.
When was the last time you had some satin sheets?
Oh man, it's a long time.
Oh, we did that. I don't
You
know.
probably had hair.
Wisdom has taught me.
No, man. Look,
It has taught me.
man, you married now. You old.
Oh.
Get you what?
Oh.
You older. You told me that was a long time ago.
Shoot.
Look, man. You married now. You got you a new wife. Get you some satin sheets, man. Just
I keep hearing.
lay
about
back
it.
on that. Just tell
Okay,
me it's the
I
wonderful
just
thing.
I remember when we were young, right? We had the satin sheets. We had the twin beds.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Mom bought us some satin sheets, and we thought, oh man,
We're going to love it.
Man, I got in that thing. I was sliding, slipping, and rolling, and it was the
Wrestling
worst
with
sleep I
yourself.
ever had. It just left a bad
But
image
see,
in my head.
okay,
I just
look.
can't do it.
Now that you're married, though,
Right.
if your pillow roll off onto the floor, you got two pillows. I mean,
Here we go.
you got your wife. I don't need no pillow.
Or three.
Right.
But I got that with
Hey,
cotton.
I have
That's
her
what I'm saying. With cotton, I still got the
I
same
think you're like
thing.
missing my point.
He trying to say,
I know.
you want the pillows to slide on the floor.
I'll
so
put
you
my
can have
pillow
an
on the floor.
excuse. Any excuse for him will do. That's what basically he's saying.
I hear you.
Hey, look,
I hear
I'm
you.
just going to say this. I ain't never too tired. I ain't never been broke up enough. I ain't never been sick. I don't care. I can dig a hole from here to New York.
And then
Okay.
still
When I
be
get
ready.
back,
You.
if it's ready for it, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's most men. My husband is probably your friend on that.
I would imagine so.
Man, I remember he had, he was at work and he had that really bad accident where he had almost lost his foot.
Yeah, I
Right.
remember
Foot
that.
literally was hanging off. He had to get reconstructive surgery and everything. But beforehand, he was laying in bed and I was like, oh, I felt so bad for you. I kept trying to give him medicine. He was like, babe, just.
That was the medicine he was
What is
making.
that?
Well, hey, you got to give him something to take his mind off that pain.
I'm sure he did.
It's like you half dead. You know,
Half dead.
That's all the more reason.
like women don't think like that. We just
Yeah.
like, hey, I didn't tell you I had a headache. Would people, laugh about that headache thing?
Yeah.
But a headache, I'm just like, hey, didn't I tell you my head was hurting? You better get out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
Shoot, if I get a headache, that's the best remedy.
Why?
What you mean, why?
That's man for you.
That's the most relaxing moment of life. I mean, that right there is like,
Everybody
why
is not like that. Uncle Steve, how are you?
Well, I'm not like that. I enjoy, those intimate moments like most people do. But
Right?
it's not, I'm not going to do it at all costs.
Right.
Like that. If it's,
Steve,
you know what? I got so many kids at the house.
So much sleep to
So
get.
much stuff to do. It's just, and then I get up early. My wife come in late. I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
She gets in late, and then it's like we trying to find a way to put everything together. And sometimes it just, sometimes we get the trifecta, and it's great.
Right.
And then a lot of times it's like, well,
We should plan it.
let's put it on the planet. What day you got? You got
What's your schedule like?
Tuesday 9, Tuesday at 9.
Right.
Okay.
No,
You know, but I'm just
get it.
kidding, but to
Yeah, I
a
get it.
degree, but.
and look, I'm
it's
not trying to
a lot.
act like I'm some kind of fanatic.
No, I mean,
So-
you married, you
No,
know.
I mean, even being married, I mean, you got to be respectful of your mate and their feelings, and
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
some, you know,
Right.
I guess where I'm trying to get to is that
My bad.
not being fanatical, but at the same time, I'm so not sure when that's gonna happen again.
Right.
Right? I mean, look, I'm a
Yeah.
married man.
Life, yes.
Look, you got life, you got kids, you got work. You just named all of the stuff that
Yeah.
prohibited, right?
Yeah.
And so, if tonight is the night,
Yeah.
I can't be too tired. I can't
Yeah.
be too
Right.
sick. A headache
Yeah.
can't stop it. Shoot,
I
I don't know when
understand.
this opportunity might strike again.
Right.
Right.
I think that's a lot of what people don't understand, especially single people. They feel like, oh, I'm gonna get married, then this is gonna
No.
be sex every day.
No.
Oh, yeah,
We're gonna be on
Such a
the,
misconception.
yeah,
we're gonna
that's
be in the
fool's
back of
gold
the
right
car,
there.
we're gonna
Yes.
be in the bathroom, we're gonna be in the kitchen.
No.
It's gonna be bang, bang, bang.
That sounds like me or my weight loss plan. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna
Right.
be hitting it up. I'm gonna be doing it, and you know the reality ain't quite that
Right.
way. You know?
I'm gonna be losing 10 pounds a week where everybody else only lost 2. You know.
That's right.
But I think that's a misconception that most single people or people that even desire to be married, I think they fall into that thing where they think this is sex, it's about
Yep.
sex.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Sex is so overrated in a
It
marriage. It is
is.
one of the last things that the couple come together to do.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But they don't know. I mean, you know, like that's what they said. The fools rush in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And they see these things on television. You know, and then sex, and their little hormones is off the chart, and they just, you know, they all bundled up inside, and ain't no wisdom flowing through.
Oh no.
They don't want to hear you tell your story. They don't want to hear about your 20 years of marriage. They don't
Nope.
want to hear about all of the tests and trials and
'Cause you're just
tribulations that
old.
you went through. Right. Because you
Yep.
old and
Everything
everything
is
is different. Everything is new. They don't even have sex the way that you had it. They don't, no more missionary position, no more anything. It's all brand new. And I'm like, well, what are y'all doing?
Right. Did y'all put it
know.
in ears or something? It's like, I don't know.
You know, I just don't understand all this different stuff anyway. It's enough just to keep up with the standard stuff going on.
Agreed.
To be adding all these newfangled
Well, the thing
mechanics.
is that there ain't nothing new.
Well,
Right.
You know, and just like the word say, it ain't nothing new under the sun.
True.
Right.
You know, they just don't know. And then how you gonna tell me what's new and you don't have no experience in none of it?
True.
Oh, well, that's their specialty right there. Oh, and the younger they are, the more experience they got, the more mental capacity that they have to tell you what sex and
It's
marriage
really
should
all
look
about.
like.
Right.
Exactly.
It's really all
and
about.
that's why they can make decisions and say, I love him, I love her, I'm going to marry them. That's going to be my woman or my wife. And you don't know nothing about this
No.
person.
No, you don't.
And don't know nothing about being in love or being married.
And
But
don't
they
even
don't
know
know about themselves.
I was just gonna say, don't even
Well,
know
they
about
still
yourself.
changing. They still going through their little hormonal changes.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, and they little,
Don't even know who
their
they are
growth
yet.
periods as a man or a young man
Well,
going into.
I got to back you up because they might be 22 or 23.
Oh yeah, well, that makes all the difference in the world.
Hey, you know, tell me you didn't know everything at 22.
I actually, I know I did. I feel like I was a different kid
Yeah.
because a lot of times, when my kids go through stuff, and it's like, man, I do a little thing. I didn't do that kind of stuff when I was young,
Yeah.
and people say, and that's the first thing people want to tell you. Yo, you was young. You
Remember
did all
when
of
you
that.
did it? Yep.
No, I didn't.
No.
Where was I
Yeah.
at?
Yeah.
I did not do those things.
Yeah.
You know, I got to think though too, the 20-year-old when you was 20 compared to the 20-year-olds
Now,
nowadays,
yep,
it's
two
night and
different
day.
things.
I
That's
mean,
true.
the maturity is so demented now.
Yes,
I
it
mean, it's
is.
so diluted, I should
It
say.
is.
You know, we was a different 20. We
Yeah.
was 20, a responsible 20 that had bills, we had accountability,
True.
people expected things out of us, the expectations were set higher, the bar was a little bit more than what I see with these 20-somethings.
True. When I was 20, I was married for 2 years and had a kid already.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you still married to the same man.
Same.
Won't God do it?
Won't God do it? Always.
Man.
You know it.
But yeah, but I cannot even imagine our 20-year-olds married.
Yeah.
They're not there. It's they're
Sometimes I'm struggling whether to send them to the grocery store to get ketchup.
or do it yourself. It's like they might get it wrong.
It was a little different for me because when I was young, I'm not trying to act like I was, some star that fell from the heavens and then, came up. But the thing was, I had enough sense to set my own boundaries.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like we were coming up. We came from a family where our mom and father had divorced when we were young, 10, 11, 12, something like that. And it was like everything I did. Because we stayed with our mom, and so there's 13 children that we have, and so it was like what we had to do had to really grow up quickly.
Yes.
Because it wasn't this spoiled. You get everything, even though our mom was a great provider and she provided for us as best as she could.
Right.
But the thing was like, hey, I need to get a job because all my brothers and sisters was, we lived in this big house. There's no father. There's nobody there to pay for these bills.
Right.
So it's like, hey, people got to go to work.
Right.
And so, I would look at my older brothers and they giving their checks.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right. And it was in the time where it was more of a depression, where it was a lot of jobs, a lot of people were laid off in the factories and that kind of thing.
Right.
And so people went to work and they were given the checks so that she could pay the bills, to buy the food, and continue to enjoy this really great life that we had. And so I'm growing up looking at that, saying, hey, I also want to make sure I get my job. And when I got my job, I was so happy and proud to hand my money over.
Yeah.
These kids today don't know nothing about that kind of stuff.
You know, sacrifice.
We had unlimited freedom. We could do whatever. But it was like, you know what? We never wanted to make our mom feel like, we were out of control. We set our own boundaries. When the street lights came on, we were still at the house. We were in front of the house. And I know some people will say, yeah, right. No, I'm telling you the truth. That's the way that it was. We set our own boundaries. I wanted my mom to be proud of me. When I went to school, I had a 3.8 average, grade point average. Yeah. She never said nothing to me about going to school or going to college or put that pressure on me. I did that myself. I put that on me.
Right.
And I'm not saying it was the love of God and God in me doing these things, because me of myself am nothing. But God was giving me all the power to do that, and I accepted it and I claimed the responsibility for it.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what made you a more mature person.
It is,
I was 18, I had my own business.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I was in school full time.
Yeah.
And I was managing one of my mom's businesses.
Right.
I mean, it was just a different mindset.
Right.
Yes.
So we were talking about sex.
Yeah.
Right.
And before marriage, for the most part. The consensual age of sex.
Right.
What would you say is a consensual age of sex?
I would say it was 16.
16.
Where'd I get that from?
Yeah.
Because that's what people start having sex at 16.
So if I told you that the consensual age of sex is actually 18.
Wow.
18 years old.
I would have said 16.
No, you know where that came from, don't you?
What?
Perverts.
Yes. Indeed.
Pervs. But no, if you have sex with a 16-year-old girl, then you are older than 18, it is considered statutory rape.
That's
Right.
Until they're 18, they don't have the consent to give you their body.
Right.
And it's the same with a boy. And when people engage in sex at that early age, they don't understand that they are in violation not of just moral law, but of the law of the land.
Right.
That's right.
True.
I know a young man who was going head over heels. He about 21 years old, and he in love with this 15-year-old girl. And I'm like, dude, you are a pervert.
Right, because she's 15.
She is 15. That is illegal tender.
That's
you
right.
cannot touch her.
Yes.
That's right.
And if you get caught, you will go to jail.
Yep.
But they so stuck on the norms of society, accepting anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, this is how young men get locked up.
So
It's
true.
because they get so stuck on everybody saying, well, it's okay, it's okay. But when that girl's mama don't feel like the norm of society is okay and turn you in and you end up in prison, then you will realize that it was some real boundaries that you should have obeyed.
And then you got to be on the sex offenders list, and
you don't get off that list.
You never get off that list. And now, and now when you apply for a job 10 years later after you done grew up, They like sex offender. They don't know what it's there for. They just see sex offender and get your butt out of here.
They don't know the condition of the sex offender list. They don't know if you raped somebody or whether you was having unconsented sex with some 15-year-old kid.
Right.
Yeah. And I misunderstood your question because I thought you were asking what age that I think was.
I was, but when she said 16, I was like, okay, well, legally.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe in the legal, but I just feel like you're still a child at 16. You're still a child at 17. You're still a child at 18.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that I'm old-fashioned. I think that you should not have sex until you marry. And there's a reason for that, because you should be promised to that one person that was made for you, right?
Exactly.
That God gave you to be with. And not that you ran out and grabbed, or you was fast, or you was hiding in the flesh and all of that kind of thing. You ran out there and grabbed somebody. Somebody that's that young. You know, when I think back when I'm 18, I made a lot of, even though we had responsibility and I was a responsible 18-year-old guy, I still made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of things that I did that I really wish that I had not done.
Right.
Because my mind wasn't right. But at that time, you have this thing about you where you do think you do know a little bit of something. And it's like, well, let me make my own mistakes. Wrong.
That's stupid.
That's
so
the
wrong.
thing. Let me, you did your life. You messed up your life, and I can do my wrong.
That is so stupid.
It's like, learn.
Right.
Listen. But when you're young like that, you just don't have that wisdom to be able to know what's right and what's wrong at that point.
Yes.
And I know that sounds like something that you learn when you like 10 or 11, but that's something that it takes people a while, because life continues to change. They're still going into phases of life they've never been. They don't understand about life. They don't understand the complexities of being with a boy or a man, and the changes and the things and the games that they used to play. That understand, like a young lady, because I got girls, and so I'm more passionate about that side of it, because I want them to have confidence in who they are, and be proud of the fact that you're 16 and live the life of a 16-year-old child. Not what society say that 16 should be.
Exactly.
But what you know to be the way that you were taught by me. Raised in the church, raised in the Word of God, understanding that, hey, you're only 16 once. When you grown, you'll be grown forever. As long as you're here on this earth. But you only got one time to be 16. So be a child and learn to love it.
It's not just a girl thing. I got boys.
Me too.
I don't want my boys to grow up without respect for women, without respect for themselves, without that dignity, and without that God sense.
Yes.
That God sense is what really kept me, or kind of kept me in check. And I did a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have did, and you can go back, and hindsight is 20/20, and you can look at the history of my life and say, well, you shouldn't have did that, you shouldn't have did that.
Right.
Just to imagine what it would have been like if I didn't have that Holy Ghost and that God sense keeping me in check and reminding me that you should not be here. You should not be doing that.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, dating was probably the worst invention ever made. I hated dating when I was coming up.
Because it's always a peer pressure point that at some point I'm going to have sex with this person.
Exactly.
Or you could be pressured.
Pressure to it. I remember the chase was always fun. I loved pretty girls to ride in my car with me because, God was good. I always had a good car. There ain't nothing better than having a shiny car and a pretty girl in the passenger seat, right? Because I wouldn't kind of hang with a bunch of dudes. But the thing about it is I kept so many different girlfriends because I knew at some point this girl going to want to kiss.
Right.
And then the kiss is going to turn into something else. And then it's going to turn into something else. So my God conscience was still working for me.
Yes, it was.
And helping me to stay, away from that pressure of getting involved in something that I shouldn't have been involved in.
Right.
Yeah, but it's so much better to just not even have to do it and be involved in that in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing, is having the patience to wait on God to deliver somebody to you when you're ready. And that's another key, is when you're ready. Sometimes you're not mature enough to be in a relationship. These guys, sometimes they want to go and they be with a girl, and these women, a lot of them are aggressive. And they come and they find a man. It's like, the old caveman days. They clubbing the man over the head and grabbing him and taking him.
Right.
And then, they start off that way. And this is some of the things that the guys don't understand, is when the girl starts as the aggressor, she continues to be the aggressor.
She never gives it back up.
She's not giving that up. And then they're wondering later in life, coming to me, hey man, how can I take the reins back?
Right.
Because
It's
she is ruling with an iron hand, and I don't know what to do. She just using you as a silly little sock puppet. Then on the other side, you got the girls looking at these guys, and their eyes are all dreamy, and he's my guy, and he's my guy. Then all he's looking for is a trophy.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so
Trying to
after
complete his
I
conquest.
get that, then now I can move on because I told all of the guys I was going to get that. And now I got
now
it.
I have.
Now let me move on to the next. And then they're sitting there brokenhearted because they thought it was love and the guy is thinking it's conquest. But that's
It happens on both sides.
And that's what I was gonna say.
I know.
I feel
get
like
it.
that about my son. Like I fear for his innocence being taken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not because I'm like, just stay as long as you can, just keep it. You know, because I feel like when some girls are like that, they vultures and they like, girl, I'm gonna get him, and then they telling their girl, and the girl like, when you done, tell me about it, so that so we can spread it around whether he was a 2-minute man or whether he got a big one or a small one, and it's like. Oh, I don't want my son to have to do that. I don't want him to go through that. It's just like, you don't have to. And so, as much as I can, it's like, hey, go play ball with the fellas. Go on over there. Keep their mind off of that so that you won't have that pressure. So you don't have that, that influence in your face, because our kids are used to love, and so they take everything. They think everything is about love.
Yeah, they don't. Right.
We love them, and that's all they know. And so the first person that's showing them some genuine attention, or what they think is genuine attention, is like, they love me. They're in love with me, and I'm in love with them. It's the boys too.
Yeah, but one of the things that I know when I was growing up, and I was in high school and stuff, I had so many things to occupy my time. I took things in to make sure that my life is full.
Right.
I always have. Even when I was, I had got divorced and I was single for 3 years, I just grabbed things to make my life full.
Right.
And I don't have to grab a woman. So when I'm in high school, I was a jock, right?
Right.
And I played ball all day and I studied at night, and and that was my life. When I got out of high school, I went to college for full time, and I had 2 jobs, and I just made sure that I kept myself
busy,
full and busy, and enjoying my life. Exactly. And when I had time, I was still playing ball and doing other things that I could to fill those empty spaces in my life. So I never had to sit around, crying the lonely cry.
Right. But that lonely cry and that desire to be with somebody, a lot of times it comes from your environment and the things you allow into you.
Yes.
Agreed.
If you sit around watching movies with people having sex and making love, and you hanging with married couples and they're kissing in front of you all of the time, and
get the music.
And just listening to love songs, and all you hear is, ooh yeah, pick you up and down. I mean, it's like, you taking that in all day. This was on your mind. That's what you think about.
Exactly.
And so you're trying to live out this fantasy. And really, that's all it is.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah. They're in love with the fantasy of being in love.
Yeah.
But if you really understood what it takes to make a marriage work, to make a relationship last, the sacrifice, the sharing of everything. The good times, the bad times, the pain, the compromises. I mean, all of that goes into a marriage. It ain't about that 2 or 3 minutes that you had in your little musty heat of excitement. When you was a kid.
They overvalue the sneaking around, knowing that you're in something that you shouldn't be, and then that's so exciting and all wonderful and stuff. And then when you get with them and y'all have joined, now it's like, okay, this ain't fun no more.
Because now it's y'all bank account. It ain't just your money.
Or now you got to come out of the bedroom and she's not going nowhere, or he's not going nowhere. Y'all in this little house together. Now y'all in this couch. Now the compromise begins, like you said.
Exactly.
Even something as small as watching a TV show.
Yes. It's so true.
Exactly. She want to watch something that women watch, and he want to watch something that the guys watch, and the clash is there. Then you got to find a way to talk to her. Have a conversation. The only conversation you was having was to just get up in that.
Exactly.
Right? Now you got to get to know this person and like this person. Hey, this is way more than I'm ready for.
It's a lot more work than you think. And once you've achieved your little initial conquest of getting it, then this is where the real work begins.
Yes.
Exactly. This is where the real, and don't invite, we ain't going to talk about adding children into it.
Woo.
The children, that's
You got children,
Forget about sex.
you
on
got
sex.
in-laws, you got jobs, you got responsibilities, you got school, you got homework.
Yep.
I mean, it continues to grow into this big snowball of complexity.
Yep.
And if you're not mentally ready for it, this is, what happens. People just end up in divorce
Yep.
or hating each other, despising.
But it's one of the things that I really try to make sure that I do with my kids is to make sure that they value who they are.
Yes.
When they have confidence in who they are and value their innocence, value their body,
Right.
make sure that they just not something that somebody just jumped on top of just so that they get their cheap thrills. But
Right.
understand, and that's one thing that people could do is to really take time out to let their kids know how valuable they are and how they should be to themselves. Not how valuable you are to me
Right.
as
right.
a parent. Because that starts to be like, oh yeah, I know you
Mom
love
and Dad
me.
love me.
That's
Mhm. Yep.
But how valuable are you to yourself?
Yes.
How much pride, how much self-respect do you have for you to make sure that you're not in these unseemly situations and getting into trouble that you shouldn't even be in the
Exactly.
first place?
And also, I think that it's also important that you let your children know that sex is not, it's very overrated. I've talked to so many people and they be like, oh, my first time was horrible. They all talk about how they first time, and it's usually because they wasn't married.
Oh, yeah.
It was some girl or it was some guy. Guys too. People say, oh, that's just a girl thing because I know it hurt. No, I have talked to, my husband is one of them. He told me, he said, I wish I would have just waited for marriage before I lost my virginity. He said, it was so whack.
Yeah.
He said, it was bold. He said, I didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know what I was doing. And he said, it was just bad. He said, and then afterwards I felt bold and I was looking at her and she felt bold, like, ugh, look at, it was just like, he said, I wish I could just erase it.
Esther, that was your husband. He whacked. They good at sex. Everybody else in the world, they great at it the first
Yeah,
time.
right.
They come out knocking it out the park.
Come out the
They
womb
come
like
out
that.
the womb ready to go, ready to kill it.
Wow.
I think this is a real good conversation, and really, especially for younger people, if
Yes.
you can get your younger people to hear this kind of conversation or to listen to you, the main thing that really helped me shape me as a man growing up was listening to older people.
True.
Sitting in my mom's room and letting her talk to us and
Yes.
preach to us.
You better
Yes.
believe it.
Using the wisdom and the collected knowledge from my brothers and my sisters, watching what they went through,
Right.
and then saying to myself, I'm not going down that road.
Exactly.
That's right.
My mistakes will be unique. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, people can laugh and say, yeah, no such thing as a new mistake or a unique mistake, but it was unique to me.
That's
Right.
right. You didn't have to go through
I didn't have to go through it knowing that you had already been there.
Exactly.
That's
I'm not
dumb
gonna do
to
the
me.
same thing you did.
That's insanity.
Right. It is.
I want a different result from what you had, so why would I follow the same path you took?
Exactly.
And I think that people need to help instill that in their children.
Yes.
Some self-confidence about who they are and really being comfortable inside of their own skin so they don't have to feel like they got to meet somebody else's criteria.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. It was a good talk.
Yeah. It's good talk.
Man.
Good talk, good tea.
Yeah.
Good friends. Hey, thanks for watching. We invite you to come back, hear us again at the EHOG podcast. You can find us at ehogministries.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on the internet. We are everywhere you need us to be.
Right.
And we hope to see you again. God bless you. Take care.